My name is Ryan Vertucci. I'm with the Southern Maryland office of Real Property Management Gold, locally serving St. Mary's, Charles, and Calvert counties out of our physical offices in Lexington Park and Waldorf. Today I want to talk about the end of the eviction moratoriums that are expiring nationally. The CDC moratorium expires on July 31st, and the Maryland extended moratorium on evictions expires on August 15th. So I want to talk about how that's going to impact us here in Southern Maryland and kind of what we're seeing and what we're foreseeing based upon being boots on the ground here, dealing with rental tenants every day. First of all, I just want to say we do not foresee a spike in evictions in single-family field here in Southern Maryland. We're fortunate that most of our population is employed in the government or military, which were not as impacted by the pandemic. The reason why we say this is because we only have 3 renters out of 400 homes utilizing the moratorium to stay in the home. So we only have 3 tenants that have been utilizing these moratoriums. We only have 10 renters total behind on rent out of 400. And most of those will pay. They will not end up being evicted at all. There is help available for renters in Southern Maryland. These 3 people who are on the chopping block once this expires, that are behind on rent several months and have been using the CDC and Maryland moratoriums, they do have the option of obtaining rental help from 3 Oaks, the Housing Authority, and Social Services in all 3 counties, St. Mary's, Charles, and Calvert. The federal government has given a lot of money out and has sent it down to these organizations. They do have online applications tenants can fill out. It's up to the landlord to decide whether or not they want to accept all the back rent or if they want to go ahead and proceed with eviction. If you do decide as a landlord to accept the back rent, they will not pay you for any other costs. They'll just pay the back rent. They won't pay for late fees or any other charges that the tenant may have on their account. But it is an option to get the rent back. And some of them may even pay some of the rent forward, depending on the tenant situation. But they do have to fill out an online application, answer questions, prove that it was COVID related, and all those other things to be able to get the assistance on the back rent to avoid eviction. Another thing I want to mention is that even if these do move to eviction, there is a process for the state of Maryland right now to where a lot of these people were filed on and had delayed judgments that were going to kick in after these things expire on the 31st and 15th. And then those cases are going to get pushed back they're going to get judgments are going to be ruled against them. But then if you go to file your warrant of restitution, another hearing is going to be required within the next 3 weeks after this ends, to where you'll have to go to court again in order to move forward with the eviction process. So if you have somebody who's in the status and you are moving forward with eviction after these expire, expect 6 to 12 more weeks of that tenant being in the property before you get the judgment in court and file the warrant of restitution and can schedule with the sheriff. I don't think that the courts are going to be super backed up because of this, because they have been processing evictions for about the last 8 months or so, since I believe November. They've been processing evictions again. Just these ones, not all evictions were stopped, only ones that individuals chose to fill out an affidavit saying that they were impacted by COVID and they weren't paying rent. There are a lot of people who refused to do that because they could get arrested for a felony perjury if they signed that and they weren't really impacted. So a lot of people who were behind it wasn't because of COVID, have already been evicted or have moved out. So this didn't completely stop all evictions. So the one thing that you got to be aware of here is we have seen an uptick because there's such a low supply of housing inventory. I did do another video on the housing market. If you're interested in the housing market and supply and demand and what's going on in the market, rental rates, all that kind of stuff, please check out the other video. But I just want to hit on this real close, is that we're seeing a lot of tenants or people applying for properties that are pretty desperate. There's a major shortage in rental housing, especially single family homes. And we're having people who, they don't meet the credit score, they don't meet the income, and they get aggressive and, start making threats and throwing a fit, thinking that's going to get them into the property. So this is why it's very important that you have strict criteria that are within fair housing guidelines in your listing, so people know what the criteria is before they even apply. You keep an eye out for some of these common problems that we're seeing. We're seeing people submit fake or incomplete income documents. We actually have a new system that we're piloting right now that will People can give their online banking. They can put their online banking into this Experian portal, which is run by the credit agency, and it will actually verify their income directly through their bank accounts, which is making things a lot easier, which is pretty cool. But we are seeing people submitting fake income documents that they're photoshopping. We're having people who are using the names of other people they know to apply for the property, who have better credit or better income or whatever. And then, that person's not actually moving in the home, it's somebody else. We got people trying to submit their own credit reports. Like, we'll run the credit report and tell them, hey, your credit doesn't meet this. I'm like, well, hey, I have my own credit report. Here, you have to we use your own credit report. Don't let people submit their own credit reports to save $30. Run the credit report directly from the agency and run the same credit report for every applicant. People are using jobs. People are quitting their jobs and then using their previous job that they had, a couple weeks before to show that they have a job and have income when they don't. We have people using fake references. This is very common. They just say it's their landlord, but it's really their friend. You can call them. We have people, sob stories, and then a lot of people not taking no for an answer. So you have to really make sure that you have all your criteria, and your screening is on point. And that's something that we're doing. We do a pretty good job of it. We only have 10 people behind on rent. They're probably not going to get evicted. Most of these people will pay over time out of 400. So we have a very high success rate if you do that properly. But anyway, this is Ryan with the Southern Maryland Office of Real Property Management Gold. I'm giving an update at the end of the eviction moratorium here in Southern Maryland. Don't think it's going to impact single family very much, may impact lower income housing or multifamily a little bit more, but I do not see a crisis coming from this as being boots on the ground and seeing what our tenants are doing. Thank you very much and have a good day.